Welcome back to Yoshi Entertainment, everybody. So, if you all remember the Houston lawyer by the name of Tony Buzbee that we spoke of in the previous video, there are 6 people allegedly who have come forward who are out of that 120, if I'm not mistaken, and they have begun to tell their experiences, what happened to them, what they are alleging happened to them back all these years ago when they came in contact with P. Devil Combs in the industry. Now, I'm going to let you all know right now that this stuff is very graphic. There were 4 men and 2 women. They are all under the name Jane and John Doe. And we all know that this is done to protect their identity and to keep them from being harassed by people in the general public who refuse to believe their favorite celebrities are capable of horrible things. Once again, you all know I have to say alleged and allegedly accusations, the accused, so to speak. And once again, I'm going to issue a trigger warning because what is being alleged in these lawsuits by these people, y'all, it is very graphic, it is very disturbing, it's very messed up, and it is very sad. Now, unfortunately, on these YouTube apps, these different social media apps, we've been censored a lot. So we got to be careful and, unfortunately, like I said, tiptoe around what's actually happened. We got to come up with all kind of alternative names. So I'll do my best to alter the names of whatever I have to alter the names of the crimes in a way that makes the most sense and gets the point across. Anyways, and I quote, in one lawsuit, a man says he was working for Echo Clothing back in 2008 and knew Diddy through his work. As Diddy was developing and marketing Sean John, a competing brand, he says he ran into Diddy and Diddy's 3 bodyguards in the stockroom of Macy's flagship store in New York City in May of 2008. And he claims someone pistol whipped the back of his neck and caused him to fall to his hands and knees. He claims Diddy approached him and said, "Go down on me, Echo," and brutally, orally R-worded him, end quote. In another part of this article, which is from TMZ, I don't like really using stuff from TMZ because, y'all know how they can be, but in another part of this article, it alleges, and I quote, in another lawsuit, a man claims he was hired to work security for Diddy's 2006 white party where he believes he consumed a drink laced with GBH and/or X. He says Diddy forced him into a van, overpowered him, and SA'd him. The man claims Diddy inserted his you-know-what into the man's you-know-where and brutalized him. He says the alleged R-word resulted in certain bodily fluids leaking from his body, end quote. That was the second man. The third man's case, and I quote, another man suing Diddy claims he went to a Diddy party in October of 2021 where he became disoriented after consuming 1 drink. He says the room started spinning and the next thing he remembers is being in a bedroom paralyzed. He says at least 3 men SA'd him through brutalization and other acts and claims he distinctly recalls seeing a naked Diddy above him at one point during the alleged assault, end quote. That was person number 3, man number 3. And I'm just going to interject to say, once again, this points to how this wasn't just something that happened a few times back in the day to a couple of people. These people all have the same stories. These men all have the same stories. Either being drugged after taking a drink or drinking something that was laced that they didn't know was laced after going to a party or being somewhere in a social event. Once again, nobody should have to be concerned if drinks at a social event are laced. People should be able to go places and socialize without the fear of something like this happening. Or it was a case where P. Devil Combs and somebody else with him went straight into brutality of the physical and the other kind, the X-rated kind, if you will. Once again, this third man's case happened allegedly in 2021. So if anybody is going to try that, oh, that's his past bull crap, we're going to rebuke that back where they got it from, because no, this was actually quite recent. This was literally allegedly 3 years ago. And once again, we can use the Cassie case as another example of that mentality. Him saying, oh, I'm sorry, this was something that I did back in the day. But allegedly, he was still beating up on women. He was still putting his hands on Gina Wynn, allegedly. Just recently. Allegedly. So this is somebody that he's been, the kind of monster he's been for decades and still is. He's not sorry. He's just upset that he's finally getting caught up, that he's finally catching consequences. One more thing I wanted to point attention to once again concerning this third man. Whenever he said after he took whatever he took, the room started spinning. He blacked out basically and then was paralyzed, or he felt paralyzed allegedly. Y'all know I have to say allegedly. Once again, going back to the previous video where they alleged that there were animal tranquilizers in this mix of drugs that he had going around that he was allegedly spiking these drinks with. That is a horrible thing to go through. You drink something, you're thinking it's normal, you're blacked out after the room is spinning, then you do wake up or you come in and out, and all you know is that you can't move, but horrible things are happening to you. That's a horrendous thing to do to someone. Absolutely awful. I told y'all before, he needs to be thrown under the prison. Now moving on to the fourth John Doe, who they came out in the articles, who they talked about, the lawsuit that he filed. And I quote, a fourth lawsuit is from a man who says he was only 16 years old when he was invited to Diddy's 1998 white party in the Hamptons, where he says they snapped a photo together. He says Diddy took an interest in him and took him to a more private area to chat, where Diddy told him he had the right look for the music industry and could be made into a star with Diddy's help. In another article, it picks up right where that one leaves off, and it talks about the same thing. How this man alleged, and I quote, that Combs fondled his genitals when he was 16 at one of his white parties in 1998. The man, who now lives in North Carolina, alleges that Combs told him he had the look of a star, then abruptly ordered the then teen to drop his pants. End quote. And I quote, according to the man's lawsuit, Combs explained to him that it was a rite of passage to becoming a music star, at one point asking him, do you want to break into the business? The man said he complied out of fear, anxiety, and a power imbalance he felt with Combs, only realizing later that what he says happened was SA. End quote. Now, I've talked about this about 1,000 times on this channel, how some of these celebrities, these people in these high places, they love to do this little mentorship thing. Oh, I can bring you under my wing. Well, you know, if you want to get into the industry, you have to go through the gatekeepers. You have to go through certain people who know how to get you from point A to point B. They'll tell these children, I can help you achieve your dreams, all of what you've wanted all your life, all of what you've envisioned. I can make you a star. They tell these children, which 16 years old is a child still, all these things, not telling them, in order for me to help you get there, you're going to have to do some pretty messed up stuff. I'm going to make you do some pretty messed up stuff, because that is how the industry runs. That is what the industry runs on. They don't tell them. They tell them about all the stardom, and then when they sign their name on the dotted line, they put them through hell. And then when they try to walk away, they tell them, oh, well, you signed up for this. You signed up for it. They can and will use whatever they have to. They will say whatever they have to manipulate people, to trap people in these situations. It's especially heinous, like I said, with the children, because a lot of them come into the industry very starry-eyed, very innocent, just wanting to sing, dance, whatever they do, whatever their skill or talent is, only to be taken advantage of by people like P. Devil Combs. There's a lot I could also say about the power imbalance. When it is a child talking to an adult, they already feel a certain pressure, especially if they are rich, they're famous, they're a celebrity who they look up to, who they're trying to impress, because they know that this is what I have to do in order to get in, or for them to endorse me. That's what they're thinking in their minds. I have to do X, Y, Z. I have to do what they tell me to do and be obedient. If I want a chance, if I want to accomplish my dreams, I know I can do this. Not knowing, again, on the other side of that is something very messed up and traumatizing. The power imbalance is real. It's not just with children as well. It's also with adults who are in positions of leadership over other adults. Whether it's a man over a woman over a man, a woman over another woman, or a man over another man. People will use their power to manipulate and hurt people. This actually happens a whole lot more than what people really think, and in everyday life, even with normal, regular people as well. The power goes to their head. Any little power that a lot of people come into, the pride comes in. This is why I say that we got to humble ourselves constantly. Even if you don't personally think you'd ever do something like that with that kind of power, money, or fame, you still need to cultivate and grow humbleness in yourself. We also need to smother our pride. Delete our pride, if you will. Bury it constantly every day. And the reason is because that pride will have you doing things that's not right, that you wouldn't have been doing if you didn't have that same power, that same position. But as we see, most of the people who have it take advantage of it. And this is a blatant example of that. One more thing I wanted to point out with this particular case. This man said that he didn't realize at the time what was happening to him was SA. I mentioned this in a previous video, that some people don't realize what abuse is. They don't realize whenever they're being taken advantage of, manipulated, or SA'd, whenever they're being hurt. Some people just don't know. They're not aware of this. They were never properly educated, so to speak. And it's not their fault. Now, I remember back in the day when I was a kid, there would be adults who would sit us down. Sometimes they'd have seminars at the school, the church maybe. And they would explain to us, okay, if an adult takes you into a secluded room and they touch you in certain areas, that is not appropriate. That is not okay. You need to go and contact somebody who you know you can trust immediately. And they helped us understand that, like a hug, a normal hug versus if they're trying to fill you up, etc. They used to, tell people in some places, but there are some parts of the community, society, they don't tell people this. And I do believe that that's for a reason, because they want a lot of people to fall victim. The less people know about this kind of stuff, what signs to look out for, the easier they are to take advantage of. It's really sad, but people got to understand that our society doesn't run on, anything good. Our society, our communities are really bad. Let me just put that out there for anybody who doesn't know, which is why, like I said, we have got to constantly be fighting against this evil, constantly be trying to cultivate something that's good, because the good is not originally there. We have to put it there. We have to fight for it. Now, for any of you who don't believe somebody can be SA'd or harassed in that way, or fondled or touched up and not know that that's what it is. Okay, so understand that there are some people who grew up in families where the norm was they are touched inappropriately. So they grow up thinking that that's normal behavior because they've been conditioned to do so, because it has unfortunately been a normal thing that happens in their family. No, it's not normal. It's heinous. It's awful. And those people who have been doing that to them need to be in prison. Although in their family, they've made that the norm, so to speak. And they can't wrap their heads around sometimes, how is this not normal? Because that's how they grew up, being touched inappropriately. And they have to now get therapy, and they now have to work through this and get some kind of divine intervention, because whether y'all want to believe it or not, some of this stuff only God is going to be able to fix, because the trauma runs so deep. It's really messed up. This kind of stuff actually does happen. It's just sad that situations like this have to be exacerbated to the point so where now people want to listen. Why is it that people wait until situations, like I said, like this have blown up to finally say, oh, okay, we understand it happens now. We should open our eyes instead of burying our heads in the sand, so to speak. It's ridiculous. This is why I'm a firm believer in we need to expose this stuff. People need to see what is going on. It's time out for people just walking around through life with blinders on, so to speak, where it comes to and where it's concerning these issues going on in our communities, in society. Anyways, so the article also mentioned 2 women under the Jane Doe name who came out with these 4 men. And I quote, one of the Jane Does alleges Combs R-worded her in a locked hotel room in 2004 after he invited her and a friend there for a party, gave them drinks and told them to snort the C word. The woman, then a college freshman, alleges Combs also forced her friend to perform oral you-know-what on him and threatened their lives if they didn't comply, end quote. Once again, nobody should be shooketh concerning these allegations. Y'all know I have to say allegations because apparently this is the MO, allegedly. Him threatening people into doing things or threatening them if they said anything after he did things. As for the second woman, and the last of these 6 people who have come out allegedly from that 120 so far right now, and I quote, another Jane Doe alleged Combs violently attacked and R-worded her in a bathroom in 1995 at a party in Brooklyn for Smalls' music video, One More Chance. According to the woman, Combs brought her into the bathroom to talk privately and started kissing her unexpectedly. When she tried pulling away, she alleges, he slammed her head against the wall, causing her to fall to the floor. She said she tried to escape, but Combs hit her again, then R-worded her. Afterward, according to the woman, Combs nonchalantly adjusted his clothing and told her, you better not tell anyone about this or you'll disappear. End quote. Sounds like what he told Dawn Richard, allegedly, according to Dawn Richard, whenever she filed that lawsuit, which I made a video about not too long ago. Once again, the MO, threatening people, using brutality, physical brutality, hurting people, not caring about how what he's doing is hurting people, doing what he wants to get what he wants, all to satisfy, once again, the lust of his raggedy, demonic flesh. It's all about him, what he wants, satisfying himself, doing what he wants, taking his frustration out on people, using people to gratify the evil in him. Because there's only evil in a person that takes pleasure in banging somebody's head against a wall so that they could force them to not be able to fight back right before this person takes advantage of them. It's sick and messed up. And it's the arrogance for me. Once again, the pride, which I've been talking about, you must subdue, you must get rid of daily. It's the arrogance for me. It's him doing this. And at this point, he had already gotten so comfortable. I told y'all before, he was comfortable with doing this because he'd gotten away with it for so long. Because of the money, power, and influence he had over other people. He just takes somebody in the bathroom, hurt them so horribly and heinously, and then just walk off. And then tell them, you better not say anything or I'm going to do X, Y, Z. And without a care in the world, because like I said, he's already done it before. He didn't got away with it so many times. He didn't got comfortable with what he's doing. This is messed up, y'all. This is why I said you can't let somebody like that walk away. He's done too much. He must be put away. He must be. Now notice a lot of those people who were the first to come out and say that the women were lying are real quiet right now. And I'm glad that people are not throwing shade at these men. I'm glad that they're not saying that they're lying just because they're accusing or coming out making allegations about, y'all know I have to say accusing and allegations, P. Diddy Combs. I'm just pointing out the blatant double standard that has been observed upon a multitude of times in our raggedy society, in our raggedy community. Once again, I'm just glad that these men were able to put their story out there, that they were able to file these lawsuits to show the world what has been happening, what's been going on, what has happened to them, because they deserve the same justice that everybody else does. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all of this down in the comments below respectfully. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Y'all all have a very blessed, beautiful, and safe day.